It started with one of those crises of fitness that relatively young men who drink and smoke too much tend to have. These instances always seem to manifest themselves during the week, after a weekend of a fit of something strong and a pack of something deadly. You wake up some Monday or Tuesday afternoon feeling like a brittle, heavy stone and wonder how it ever even got that way. You're not sick and you're not hungover, just out of shape. That was some Tuesday afternoon for me. I woke up and avalanched out of my bed. My alarm clock read 1:35 p.m. Half of the day was gone and it was never coming back. It felt good. I put on a shirt, dragged myself over to the bathroom to take a piss. I felt groggier than usual. The toilet flushed. I washed my hands and washed my face in the sink. My 5-day beard jabbed the palms of my hands as I washed my face. I considered shaving, but was soon reminded that the cabinet above the sink was still missing the mirror all those cabinets come with. Somebody had broken it during a party or something. The reason I hadn't shaved was because I didn't have a bathroom mirror. People take that excuse as a real joke, but it's a serious issue that I'm sure plagues most modern households. People would be so well kept if they just had bathroom mirrors. I brushed my teeth without a mirror because it's impossible to cut your throat open while brushing your teeth without looking. And it's okay if you miss a spot when you brush your teeth, but you look like a fool if you miss a spot when you shave. I finished up and walked out into the hall. The hall that led to another bedroom and the living room, dining room, kitchen area. My brother was at work, so I was the only one in the apartment. I hated that quiet, motionless atmosphere that empty rooms have. You could feel time when it was quiet. You could feel it like humid weather. I went back into my room to put on some jeans and grab my little Camels. Little Camels are what I call my unfiltered cigarettes. So I got out to the 3x5 balcony that the crappy apartment had, and I let the noise settle in. The cars and trucks roared down the nearby freeway. Mexican music played from somewhere down the line of apartments. Sirens somewhere in the distance got closer and louder. A mother screamed at her children for something they both probably did wrong. Now I could deal with time, with reality. It's so much easier when you know something is going on and you can hear it and smell it and be that bastard witness. I took out one of my crooked little Camels and stuck a red-headed match. The first inhale wasn't ideal. The taste of burnt tobacco seemed more bitter than usual, a metallic type of bitter. The second and third drags were just as bitter, but got increasingly harsher on my throat, and as the smoke tumbled and scraped all the way down my lungs, I exhaled out of my nose. That part wasn't bad, just normal. The fourth drag is the one that took me out, like a good left hook. It was a long drag, excessive. The fiery end couldn't keep in producing enough smoke for me to take in. The taste was still bitter, though a bit less metallic. The harshness was no stronger than the previous drag. I was about to exhale when something came over me. Out of nowhere, I felt like I was choking. I hunched over, began coughing violently. With every cough that I barked out, I would puff out a little smoke cloud. It must have looked like the death of one of those old steam trains as they try to chug along but can't, and just stop and go while little puffs come out its smokestack. The clouds of smoke got smaller and smaller. My coughing got quieter and quieter. It was all over and I just felt like hell. From somewhere down below I heard, "Hey! You alright up there?" It seemed of genuine concern. "Yeah, I'm alright," I said. "Just a bad cigarette." The person didn't reply after that. Whoever cared didn't care anymore. I took a seat on the small stool. We kept out there in the balcony and took some deep breaths. My eyes felt red, like with the feeling of just having woken up in the middle of the night. I raised my right hand to rub my eye and noticed I hadn't dropped a cigarette throughout the whole ordeal. I had grown so accustomed to holding it that I just seemed natural and unnoticeable. It wasn't even halfway done. The ember tip was practically non-existent. A little thin line of smoke struggled upward and disappeared. I smashed the cigarette against the railing of the balcony and thought, I don't know what shape I'm in, but it can't be any good. Back inside, I got myself a glass of water and back into my room. I turned on my computer, I put on some music while I applied for some job and checked my email. My eyes still felt red, though less so. I closed the web browser and kept the music playing. I already felt tired. And when you feel tired after you just woke up, you feel old. Or at least older than you really are. I didn't feel I had been decaying for 23 years. I felt like I imagined 30 would feel like. 7 years wasn't so bad. Though I wish it felt like I did back in high school cross-country days, before the whiskey and the little camels. I could run for miles then, and still have enough juice to stay up all night, talking to bras and doing homework. You can't do that anymore after a while. It all catches up to you and you start breaking, even if you're lucky. No, sir. It's never like it used to be. But people always suspect that it could be like it used to be. And that's how I felt after coughing a concert. I put on some shorts and a pair of old running shoes I hadn't used over a year. I hadn't gone running in over 2 years. All the odds were against me. But I mustered up the will to go along with it, and as I stretched, the only thing I took with me were the keys to the front door and the gate. There was a park 2 blocks away. The weather was warm, somewhere in the 70s. I remember measuring a lap around the park once. It was a little over a mile. I decided to run 2 laps. I still had a chance if I could run 2 miles. A chance to fight those extra 7 years I had on me. And maybe even reverse it. I just wanted a chance. Some people don't even make it to that. It was going to be tough. The park was an oddly-shaped mess that more or less resembled a rectangle. It technically had 5 sides, but one of them was too short to matter. I started running. Long forgotten muscles were waking up. My breathing started to get heavy halfway through my first mile. I could feel the strain on my calf muscles on the last side of the park. A sense of relief came over me as I finished my first mile, even though I had several significant doubts that I could finish the second mile. I slowed my pace at the beginning of the second mile. My calves seemed on the brink of cramping up. My thighs weren't doing so hot either. It felt like a knife was jabbing them with every step I took. I was making the turn from the first side to the second when I noticed someone pass me by on my left-hand side. It wasn't in a flash or a creeping pace, but more of a steady, fluid stride. It was a girl. I was keeping my slow and steady pace, so she passed me in no time and kept getting farther with those strides. She was thin, wearing a white tank top and those black thighs that hug the ass in a glued on sort of way. And damn, did they hug her ass in all the right ways. Or maybe it was her ass that was doing all the work. Who knows? I've never really been an ass man. But every now and then you come across one that you can't help but admire and practically sweat over. That's what her ass was doing. Calling for unconditional admiration like some miracle, some act of divinity. And with some steady strides she was running with. Oh, man. I really lost my mind and stopped chugging along. But I held on to my concentration and pain of fatigue because I already wasted a mile on it. And I wasn't about to give in now. Besides, in no more than 2 minutes, she was too far from me worth paying attention to. My legs seemed to be getting more and more tired. but I didn't slow down. Maybe I had finally gotten used to the tiring pain in my legs. I finished the second side and started on the third, and then I found myself catching up to the girl. I didn't know if I was running faster than before or if she was running slower. I considered my pace down. I considered bringing my pace down to enjoy the view, but I didn't see a reason for it. My concentration on the run overweighed my desire for eye candy. Call me jaded. So I kept my pace. I passed that good ass and kept going. For some reason, I was glad I had passed that broad. It felt like a sort of victory. And that's the way people get when they pass someone, be it on the freeway or just getting the last spot on a full elevator and seeing the other people wait as the door closes. Little meaningless victories. It's these little victories that keep us from going insane with depression and hysteria. Passing a guy on the freeway makes the bills a little more bearable, makes solitude a little less lonely, and makes dealing with people less awkward. Little victories keep us moving forward in life. It's easy to dismiss the little failures. So it's not like the little victories someone takes over someone and pushes them over the edge. In fact, most people don't even notice when someone takes a little victory over them. Or maybe they just don't care because they know they're going to get theirs later anyway. I got my little victory, and it got me forward. My legs were feeling better and lighter. I sped up and finished my second mile. Now I had a chance. I stopped running, began walking back towards the apartment. I looked back to see if the broad was there. She wasn't. The 2 miles were starting to feel like daggers on my legs as I walked back up the stairs to the apartment. I took a shower, considered shaving without a mirror, decided not to. I had my little victory for the day and walked on out to the balcony. Different music was playing somewhere down below. The rush hour cars on the nearby freeway screamed with their horns as they crawled home. Kids were playing and screaming somewhere. I lit another little Camel. It was good this time.